Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by the garden today. We're just going to do a little video on my succulents here because I keep my succulents on this little cart and then I pull them outside in the sun right over there where that little thing is. You can see the mat. I usually put the mat over there and then go ahead and lay my cart on it, so this way it's a little bit off the ground from the bugs, so the bugs don't crawl on the cart. That's just for the bugs here because we live in Florida and we get so many bugs. And I just wanted to give you guys some little updates on my succulents out here. I grow a lot of succulents indoors and out, but these are starting to bloom out here. I have a couple inside starting to bloom as well. 2 others. We have 4 succulents in bloom, and she's looking so good. I usually post these pictures on my YouTube page, just a single post, so you guys will see the updates on these, but you can see just how well these have been acclimating. We're just going to go over some little care tips on them because it's been really rainy and humid, so that means my pots are going to stay wet for a lot longer. And I got to be really careful because I have a lot of plants that are blooming right now. You can see this beautiful neon breaker. She is growing over the pot so much. We got her last year, I think. I mean, it's been quite a while since we got her. Maybe not last year, maybe the beginning of the year. We got that echeveria right there, the purple one, the big one. She's like my showcased pride and joy. I love that succulent, and she's gotten so big over that pot since we put her in there, and that was a good decision to transplant her into something a little bigger. Now, succulents really don't have much of a root system on them, so you really got to be careful with the size pot you put them in. Try to put them in, the size pot to their roots, just a little bit extra room, because if you put them in too much room, give them too much room, then that soil is going to stay wet for a long time, and then you'll have a better chance in rot setting in, just because that soil is taking so long to dry out on you. And I transplant all mine in some succulent soil, all the way succulent soil. Let's go on the other side. I always use Miracle Grow cactus, palm, and citrus mix, and they all are planted in that. This is my little thimble cactus. There's so many to review, guys. They've just been going crazy, growing babies on them. That one we fixed from rot, and she's just doing so good now. That's a little clavifolia, big clavifolia actually. She's doing so good. That's a patriveria. And I just got to be careful with the water because since we've been getting a lot of rain, I haven't been able to pull my succulent card out, which is why we're getting a little bit of stretching here, and we have to kind of fix that. We need to give him a little more light. This little Lola is not stretching, which I'm so happy about because she's cute and I don't want her to stretch. These little ones, that's a graptiveria on the left there, opalina, and this one's a galaxy blue, and this one's starting to stretch a little bit. This one's a little sensitive. It likes high light. So when we don't get a lot of light and we get a lot of rain like we've been getting the past couple weeks, you can see how much she's stretching. And I just have to get out there and put them in the sun as much as I can. And this is why I put them on a cart, because my succulents usually stay on this cart and then I pull them in once it rains. Let's go down on the bottom. I pull my succulents in from the cart once it rains because I always want to control that water myself. I don't want the rain doing it this time of year because we live in Florida, zone 9B, and it's really humid, really tropical, and rainy this time of year with excessive heat. So I have to be really careful with my succulents. They're protected from the shade cloth, so we fixed a lot of sunburn that was going on. We had some sunburn on our flapjacks back there. You can see right back there in them little containers. You can see them flapjacks got burn on them. That's what burn looks like right there. And we fixed that. They're starting to grow out of it, but these, I wanted to make sure these didn't get burned. So my kalanchoes back there that got burned, I keep them in about 6 hours of direct sun, and these get the full 10 hours of sun, but with the shade cloth. So this shade cloth helps to prevent sunburn on your plants. It blocks out the ultraviolet rays that are harmful, and I put it on the bottom as well, so this way there's no sun peeking on in anywhere throughout this cart here. And they have been doing really good. I gotta say, they look so good compared to what they did previously, not in terracotta pots and without a shade cloth. There's so much of a difference here, and I just have to watch the watering. As soon as this soil dries out completely all the way to the bottom, what I'm gonna do is let it stay dry. I just let it stay dry this time of year, and then I feel the leaves. The bottom leaves feel plump, which these feel so plump. Let me break that off. I'll just propagate it. These are so plump. You see this? And I haven't watered this in a good 4 or 5 days, and it's the summertime and they're out there in the heat. Even though we don't get the excessive sunlight that we do in like May and June, we still have a lot of excessive heat here, and with the humidity, these are just sucking up all that humidity that's in the air that gets in the soil. It makes the soil basically dry out a lot slower, and it puts like moisture in the soil. If you notice, in humid climates, it'll put a lot of moisture in your soil. So they're actually getting watered. This little sedum echeveria right here, I've had this forever, and she's doing really good. Her leaves are so plump on the bottom, which if you're getting bottom leaf death, that's totally normal. Don't worry if you're getting bottom leaves to die, because they're nice and crispy and they're not like overwatered. And if this was overwatered, this would be exploding in my hand when I squeeze it, and I am squeezing this like a lot. I'm pushing on this quite a bit, and it's not exploding in my hand. It's not turning dark, and it's staying nice and plump. If this was overwatered, it would explode. Underwatering means that, you know, your leaves are going to turn crispy on the bottom, which that's what you should be doing. You know, leaves should be dying on the bottom of your succulents, just not in the middle. If they're dying in the middle and they're drying up in the middle, you know that it's a water problem and you have to go ahead and water. These are so plump. This Graptopetalum right here, they're all really plump, so I don't have to water yet. And I'm not probably going to have to water for another few days here to a week. I mean, we've just been getting so much rain in the air and humidity that they're going to be just fine. Just remember to always feel the bottoms of your succulent leaves. Even these echeverias, I feel the bottom leaves of all my succulents. Now the cacti, the ball cacti, they're going to be hard to tell because that's a ball of water and it's pinchy. Your cactus is pinchy. So let's go on the bottom and take a look at mine. This little thimble cactus is not pinchy. This is like a little thimble one. I love this one. And all I do is feel it. I squeeze this big ball right here, the biggest one, not the babies. Try to avoid touching the babies because the babies fall off really easily. And this is plump, so I know that we're good. We don't have to water. But on the bottom, we got pinchier ones right there on the side there. We got this pinchy one, which the spines go sideways, so we can actually feel this. And this is full of water when I squeeze it. This one we can't squeeze because it's got really big spines on it and they hurt. But I can tell if this bottom of the cacti wrinkles a little bit and just looks a little deflated, then I know I can go ahead and water. Sorry that's so dark. If it's a little deflated, you can go water. If it looks a little wrinkly, that means it needs some water. If it looks yellow, that means it's a little overwatered. So as long as your cacti looks healthy like those and they're nice and plump and round with no wrinkling, you should be good for the water. Just like these, I don't water unless I have to, so I always feel the bottom leaves of my succulents and the cacti if I can. If I can't feel the cacti, I look for that wrinkling on the leaves. But if you don't have the wrinkling, you should be good with your cacti. Just, there's such a big ball of water versus the succulents. Succulents have fleshy leaves, but they do have water inside of them. Those cacti are just a big ball of water, so they're going to require a lot less water than these succulents we're growing. Even though they're a bunch of different types of succulents, they're pretty much all going to require more watering than the balls of cacti you have. And just try to protect them from the sun as much as you can and the rain. You know, you don't want them getting that direct sunlight to where they're burning all day long in that sun. If you have extreme conditions like we do here in Florida, then they need to have like a little shade cloth on them and it'll prevent burning on the leaves. As far as the watering, just beware of the watering. You know, in the summer it can go either way. It can go you water more or you water less. If we had dry conditions, I'd probably be watering a little bit more. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. See you next time.